Man gunned down in Red Hill, St. Andrew. The St. Andrew North police are investigating the murder of a man along Blue Mountain Road in Red Hills on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 26-year-old welder Marlon Newsom of a Blue Mountain Road address. It is reported that about 7 a.m., residents heard explosions and summoned the police. Upon arrival, the police discovered Newsom along the roadway lined in blood. The Constant Spring Criminal Investigation Branch is probing Newsom's death. Man shot dead, 2 others injured in flanker. The St. James police are investigating a matter where 3 men were shot, 1 fatally, in flanker Wednesday morning. Preliminary reports are that about 8:25 a.m., the 3 men were set upon by unknown assailants who opened fire on them on Church Hill Crescent in the community. When the shooting subsided, the 3 men were found with gunshot wounds. 1 man has since died and the other 2 taken to hospital with injuries. The identity of the dead man has not yet been ascertained. 1 killed, 8 injured during shooting at wake for entertainer Christopher Martin's grandmother. A brutal attack at a wake in Cudger Hill, St. Catherine, early Wednesday morning has left 1 man dead and 8 others injured. The wake was being held in honor of the late grandmother of entertainer Christopher Martin when 2 gunmen struck. The incident occurred around 12:40 a.m. as the gunmen walked down a dirt road towards the house where several people were gathered. Without warning, they opened fire indiscriminately, sending mourners scampering for cover. Among the victims was 34-year-old O'Neill Spencer of Point Hill, who initially escaped the first round of gunfire. Unfortunately, as he attempted to leave his hiding spot and make his way home, he was ambushed and fatally shot. Spencer was pronounced at hospital. 8 other attendees were injured in the attack, with 2 reported to be in critical condition. 1 person was treated and released. The St. Catherine North police are investigating the incident, but have not yet determined a motive for the shooting. The community remains on edge as authorities work to apprehend those responsible for the killing. Energy Ministry establishes email addresses for complaints regarding incorrect electricity bills. In response to a major increase in complaints against the country's sole electricity provider, the Energy Ministry has established email addresses to receive and resolve complaints regarding incorrect electricity bills. The bills consist of those received by the Jamaica Public Service JPA customers over a recent billing period following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Customers have raised concerns over massive hikes in their bills, despite not having electricity for weeks in some instances. In response, the Ministry has written to the JPS and the Office of Utilities Regulation OR, requesting that probes be carried out into the ports. In the interim, the Ministry says JPS customers who believe their bills have been affected unfairly are to submit their complaints to jpscomplaints@mset@gov.jm. Those whose complaints regarding the OR should send their emails to orcomplaints@mset.gov.jm. Customers are to provide a brief description of their usage along with a copy of their last 2 electricity bills when submitting their complaints to facilitate swift resolution. Meantime, Energy Minister Darrell Valls stressed that it is a government priority to ensure that affected customers receive the necessary support and that those issues are addressed promptly and fairly. He noted that customers who are having issues with their telecommunications network can also reach out to the ministry.
There has been a significant increase in the amount of complaints by JPS customers regarding issues that they're having that have not been resolved, despite the fact that they are being told that the matters have been resolved, especially since the advent of Beryl. So the government is taking this very seriously and trying to document the complaints and areas of discontent for all the customers as we enter into remedying long-standing issues with utility companies and prepare for a review of the JPS license. So this is not only about JPS, this is about all the utilities. There are significant complaints about the telcos, and what we want to do is I want to be on top of it rather than having to rely on second and third hand information. So the customers all around can feel free to pass on all their complaints pre and post Beryl so that I can have a good feel as to what's happening and be able to negotiate on their behalf. to get better service all around.
JPS to cancel bills sent to customers who have no electricity after Hurricane Beryl. Jamaica Public Service JPS customers who were without electricity during the last billing cycle but received estimated bills are to be given new bills reflecting no charge. Energy Minister Daryl Voss made the announcement. Mr. Voss said JPS has suspended disconnections until September 15.
In cases where estimated bills were sent out to persons who had no supply, JPS will cancel these bills and generate new bills representing zero consumption and therefore $0 owed for those bills. And there are several of them out there. We have been hearing about them from the first time of the estimated bills that were sent out some weeks ago. So again, this is good news. It means that for those persons who have not had their lights restored, that were affected by Beryl, that received estimated bills or any other kind of bills, those bills will be zero rated and therefore there will be no funds owed to the JPS on those accounts. JPS has suspended disconnections for the non-payment of bills just before the Hurricane Beryl impacted the island on July 3rd. In recognition of the challenges faced by many after the hurricane and the higher bills now being seen, JPS has extended the disconnection process from August 15th to September 15th. So it means that there will be no disconnections until September 15th, which is commendable.
Police urge human trafficking safeguards for children. The police are encouraging parents, guardians, and other well-thinking adults to take steps to safeguard children against human trafficking. They report that children continue to be the main targets of this heinous crime in Jamaica. Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF Anti-Trafficking In-Person Unit at the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, Detective Inspector Kimisha Garden, said that while the actual figure is not high, any child falling victim to this illicit activity is one too many. Children have been the target for the past 4 or 5 years, and we have primarily had children being identified as victims. For example, last year, about 70% or more of the victims identified were children, and the previous year 100%, she informed. Inspector Garden, who indicated that the unit receives report from the National Children's Registry, said her team investigates all matter referred. What we find is that persons will make calls to the National Children's Registry. They are anonymous calls that are referred to the unit. On average, we receive about 25 to 30 such anonymous calls per year, and we ensure that we look into every one of these referrals from the National Children's Registry, the policewoman explained. As a preventative measure, she said, parents should try to educate their children to be vigilant when engaging in online activities and be mindful of any potential link with human trafficking. Children are always online, so we have to firstly ensure that they know how to protect themselves by, for example, not taking friend requests from persons they do not know, not sharing explicit videos or photographs of themselves, and not pretending to be older than their age, because these are things will have serious consequences, Detective Inspector Garden shared. She encourages children to be mindful and alert of the people around them with whom they may interact. They need to pay attention to the persons that they engage with and be mindful that the traffickers may not be somebody they do not know. It could be a friend, it could be somebody who they consider to be a friend of their mom or dad. It could be their own mom or their own dad, the policewoman emphasized. She pointed out that traffickers try to get the thrust of the child so they can believe they are friends, and then they may begin by grooming them, giving them things in the initial stage so they develop that trust. Tell your child not to accept gifts from individuals who are not persons that their parents authorized to give them gifts, Detective Inspector Garden further underscored. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.